This is a relay project.
Real Talk starts right now. Here's Ryan Jesperson.
We want to welcome you to a very special episode of Real Talk. This is a first for us. And as far as we know, this is a first for the 7,000 plus members of CSU 52. That's right, Civic Service Union 52, right here, gathering for a virtual town hall. Over the next hour or so, an opportunity for you, CSU 52 members, to meet your new leadership, to dig into the issues that are most relevant, not just to the careers that you've chosen, not just to the services that you provide, but to the city together, Alberta's capital city that we call home. I probably don't need to tell you, CSU 52 members, how integral your service is to the functioning and the growth, to the edifying opportunities that are available in Edmonton. Quite frankly, if it weren't for CSU 52 members, the city of Edmonton would grind to a halt. We're talking about 7,000 plus members who deliver core services that keep Alberta's capital city running in 6 bargaining units. Of course, that as we welcome Valley View Municipal Library on top of course, the City of Edmonton, Edmonton Public Library, the TELUS World of Science, EPCOR, and Capital Power. CSU 52 represents administrative professionals, technical professionals, administrators, clerical workers, including 911 operators, fitness instructors, library assistants, accounting and IT professionals, folks who work on Vision Zero, the folks who help find your lost pets, call center operators, and of course, those who keep your water clean, those who grant permits. My goal here is to create a scenario to paint a picture where all of us realize and recognize how integral CSU 52 members are to the healthy and vibrant operation of the city of Edmonton. Now, the theme today can't be anything but new leadership and fresh vision. In just a moment, I'm going to introduce you to Bryce Jowett, to Miiahzy Patel. They and their new board are focused on ensuring that every CSU 52 member feels included. They want to modernize this union, have it forward-facing. They want to make sure that there is organizational transparency in every context, that there's collaboration, that there is member engagement. And what better way to achieve that than to ensure that the barriers are removed when it comes to participation in a town hall like this? CSU 52 members are quite literally shaping the city that we live in, from safety to infrastructure to inclusive community spaces. In just a moment, I'm going to ask Bryce and Miiahzy about this Summer of Solidarity tour. Chances are you've heard about it and maybe even participated in it. This is about listening. This is about learning together, whether in person, at the Metro Cinema, at barbecues, at other events, or participating virtually, just like this town hall. Now, there's a municipal election coming up on October 20th. Chances are I didn't have to tell you that. But we want to encourage members to truly understand what's at stake when it comes to city services and when it comes to the work that you, CSU 52 members, are doing. We're going to talk about safety. I want to make sure that we cover investment in core services, growing smartly and according to an intuitive plan, and building an inclusive city. Now, CSU 52 does have a list of endorsed candidates for this election, and we'll cover that over this next hour or so. This is a union that's built on action, on solidarity, on growth. And we're stronger when members are engaged. So tonight, as we come to you live, or perhaps you're watching this later, this is an opportunity to build the union family and to build a strong community. So we're encouraging as much participation as possible. There's a few ways that you can do that. Number one, our Real Talk live chat is wide open right now. And we've already got CSU 52 members and members of the general public that are joining us on this virtual town hall contributing. We're also going to have a couple of interactive polls throughout this broadcast. And I'm going to be telling you about those, and I'll lay them out, but keep an eye out for that on our YouTube channel, the Real Talk Ryan Jesperson YouTube channel, and make sure that you register your vote and have your say. You can also send us an email to talk@ryanjesperson.com, and we will be monitoring our inbox over the next while. We want to officially welcome you to this broadcast, the virtual town hall. Not your typical Zoom call and not your typical brick and mortar town hall gathering. Before I introduce the two stars of the show, so to speak, our valued guests, CSU 52's new president and first vice president, let's hear from them in their own words. Meet Bryce and Miiahzy.
I don't look like the athletic type, but right up until I was elected president, I used to play sledge hockey, and I was actually on the Alberta provincial team.
I love spending time at the Mutter. It's like one of my favorite places to go. I love sharing that experience with like people. I think is really underrated and something that we do really great in the city.
The melting emoji, like that actually, like every time he does that emoji so much, and he used it a lot the first month, but I think that is a very accurate emoji. Like, yeah, everything's fine. We're doing great.
Honestly, you're the angry swearing emoji. Because you will come into my office having learned something, and you will say,
"Is it the one like with the black thing around their face?"
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And you'll be like,
that's fair.
And you will be swearing, and then it's like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay, and this. And we have to sit and sort of unpack it. It's how dedicated they are to their work every day. They want to come in and they want to do the best job they can for Edmontonians, for the city, for their community.
You know, to still see like that commitment and dedication to their positions and their jobs and the work that they do is awesome.
So there you have it, CSU 52 President Bryce Jowett, CSU's 52's first Vice President, Miiahzy Patel. Now, of course, we're going to lead with the most important and pressing question. Bryce, did Miiahzy fairly characterize you in the emoji that she selected in describing you best?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely she did. I use that emoji all the time. It very much sums up there are some days in the office where it's like, oh my gosh, there's another issue, and you do just sort of feel very like melting, like, oh my God, this is I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna sleep very, very well tonight after I finish all of this.
And then you've got the heated, I don't know if I want to call it the angry face, Miiahzy, because that's starting off on perhaps the wrong foot. But did he properly characterize you with the censored black block across your face?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I get very passionate about things that happen, and that is very accurate.
Well, it's obvious.
I will leave it at that.
It's obvious from that video. And by the way, to the two of you, an official welcome here. We want to welcome as well, as we have already, the CSU 52 members that are joining us when they're watching this on the Real Talk Ryan Jesperson YouTube channel. If they just look to the right of their screen, they're going to see the live chat there. And you're also going to see that the live poll, that interactive poll that we have running. And I'm going to get to more on that in just a quick second. I will let you know that our first interactive poll through this virtual town hall, we're asking you, CSU 52 members, what is the number one thing that CSU 52 should focus on this year? And we've given you a number of different options. But Bryce, of course, people in some circumstances, even your very own union members may be meeting you, so to speak, by way of this virtual town hall for the very first time. Yeah. What was it that drew you to seek the leadership by way of the presidency, and why was it something that you felt was an obvious next step or a really good fit for you.
Yeah. So I was involved in the union for a long time, but I got really truly involved in the strike planning and the strike committee. I was helping to organize the logistics and the signups for where people would go to picket if we ended up going on strike in 2024. And after that, I was blown away by the sheer amount of like we got 91% on some of our strike votes, stuff like that, and we had this huge amount of solidarity, and I wanted to get involved and actually use sort of my skill set to sort of help grow this union, to modernize this union. I was like, there's a lot of things that there's a lot of things that we're doing really well, and a lot of things that we could leverage our members for, and to actually like improve and modernize this union. And I want to sort of put myself out there to be the one to do it. Yeah.
Okay. Miiahzy, how about you? You've obviously, I've been a CSU 52 member for quite some time, but stepping up in a significant position of leadership as first vice president is a real next step. Why was the time right for you? What drew you to put your name in the hat and seek that position?
For sure. I come from the Edmonton Police Service. I have 18 years there. The last 10, I was a shop steward. And I really love helping people. It's one of the things that I'm really good at, and people are naturally drawn to kind of asking me questions, and I'm a natural problem solver, so I'll go kind of figure things out. And because EPS has about maybe 1,000 members, there was a big push from the membership to have a voice at the union office. And so that was kind of my drive, like just helping people and wanting to be involved.
So by my math, you've been in the position for about 7 months now. Is that right? Just over half a year or so?
That's correct.
How would you characterize the first 7 months in the position? What's it been like?
It's been very busy. Bryce and I have a lot of, we both ran on this, platform of transparency. And so, just looking for that member engagement, looking for different ways, like bringing it back to summer solidarity, trying to find different ways to engage people. Traditionally, we were using like e-news or written communications. So really opening it up to like the movie night, giving people different platforms to kind of engage.
That movie night you're talking about, this is
Yes.
it has to have been one of the highlights. First of all, your team, the CSU 52 team, picked an iconic location for this at the Metro Cinema. But this part of the Summer of Solidarity, Bryce, take me into this. Why was this so important, this commitment through the summer?
Yeah, this was one of the things I really wanted to do. Is like Miiahzy just said, is like trying to find new ways to sort of meet our members, especially like our younger members, like where they're at, right? Having new traditional, like instead of just like your every couple months a union meeting, right? And we're going to make motions and we're going to be very parliamentary. How can we get members out and sort of say that being part of CS 52 is not just about negotiations. It's not just about your next contract. It's we're community, and we're only as strong as our solidarity to each other. So how can we bring members together? How can we communicate to them at different events? Can we try movie night? This hasn't been done before. Can we try barbecue? Obviously, we've done some barbecues before, but can we try and make it a listening thing and try to meet members there? Can we do something like this, right, where we're trying to get as many different platforms as we can to try and meet as many members as we can in different places?
You come from a library background, correct?
Yeah, I do.
I should ask you the same question that I asked Miiahzy.
Yeah.
7 months now into the role. It's either a very short period of time or perhaps it feels like a marathon, depending on your perspective. But taking on the new role of president, how would you characterize your first half of a year or so?
Very, very different. I come from the library. Yeah. So I was most recently, I was a library assistant. I held that role for a few years. And that's very much like it's a very front facing, a customer service type of role, right? You're at the front desk, you're helping answer questions, you're doing programming and stuff. It's a very active job also. So I moved into sort of a bit of a more sedentary job. I've had to sit and figure out how do I keep moving, right? And the other thing is that it's a lot of management stuff, right? It's a lot of working with the office staff, getting everyone on the same page. What are we doing about the city negotiations coming up? What are we doing, or what are we doing about EPCOR negotiations? Do a lot of that like internal administrative work, and so that's been very, very different coming from the library, right? Just a very new experience, very fast moving. it's just been very new. Yeah.
Okay, well, I
That's how I'm
want to talk about member priorities, because this is a big reason why your members are going to be taking part in this virtual town hall, while they'll be engaging. Probably a big part of the reason that would be the impetus for them reaching out to you. I'll let your members know that we do have an interactive poll up right now on our YouTube channel in the live chat, and we're asking what's the number one thing that CSU 52 should focus on this year. And we're giving members a number of different options: working relationships with employers, workplace safety, better communication with members, member engagement, and of course, because we can't help ourselves, helping the Oilers win the Stanley Cup.
Of course.
We just wanted to see, and I will let you know that we'll be checking in on this live poll throughout, and perhaps to your surprise, and maybe as an encouragement to you, helping the Oilers win the Cup is not the number one response yet, which means that your members have ambitious expectations of how they expect CSU 52 leadership to reflect their wishes. Miiahzy, how is the board's vision connecting to members' priorities?
And sorry, I was gonna speak to that a bit. So like in our 7 months as well, we have competing kind of priorities, right? We've got the board, we've got our members, we've got employer relationships. What's the other one? I always do this like very good for. We have we have the board, we have our members, and we have employers, and we have all this stuff,
And
right?
we're bargaining. Right?
And
we have bargaining,
bargaining,
and pretty much
right?
every unit started at the same time. Yeah.
That's right, and just like trying to kind of balance all those elements, right? And so like I think the board's vision. We have 7 new board members this year, so with Bryce and I included. And so we did have a strategy planning session in July to kind of figure out like, where do we want to go as a board? What is important to us? And one of those things, really one of the big shining things, was member engagement. And how are we engaging our, shop stewards on every day on the floor, and how are we kind of elevating them so that they're supporting the office as well.
In my introduction, I mentioned and referenced that there is new leadership, and that there is a fresh vision and fresh voices. And we talked about some of the priorities, ensuring that every CSU 52 member feels included, that the union is modernized, that there's organizational transparency. Miiahzy, you say that's one of the top things that motivated you to seek this leadership position. Collaboration, member engagement. What can members expect more specifically from this new board's direction?
Yeah, I think what you can expect is and what we've sort of already been doing is a lot more open communication, right? Putting out like what is happening at your bargaining table, what is happening in our board meetings, what are we focusing on, where are we spending your money? These are your union dues, right? And so like where you should know where they're going, and sort of being very open about like this is where the board is prioritizing. This is how much we're spending on. Are we sponsoring the Telstra World of Sciences event because they're a not-for-profit employer? We want to support the initiatives they put on for the community, right? Not just for ourselves, and sort of being that's where I think is one of the biggest things is being transparent and saying like let's be sort of open and like these are your dues, right? Everything should be open, right?
Miiahzy, when we talk about new board direction, for some people that will instill optimism. They'll be very excited to hear this. For others, it might make them a little bit nervous. What would you like CSU 52 members to know about the new direction or this fresh vision that they're going to be seeing?
I guess just to know that, that Bryce and I are engaged. We're trying to, solicit as much information as we can from the membership itself, in order to kind of direct us in this new vision. So, trust us. We come from the floor. We come from areas that are, traditionally minority at CSU 52. And we're just looking to make sure that we're representative of all of our members.
What would you say, and maybe, Miiahzy, I'll come to you first, and you don't have to pick just one, but I'm curious to know about some of the biggest challenges that you perceive CSU 52 to be facing right now, and how is the union planning on addressing them?
Politics is a big one for us. We're kind of in an unknown. We don't know what's going to happen October 20th with that election.
Right.
Provincial politics kind of dictates a lot of our lives currently. We've got relationships with the employers that we're working on as well. So I think these are kind of the big things in terms of like how and where do we move, and how do we find people that have the same interests as us, so that we can kind of navigate that together.
You both of you are in a very tough spot right now, aren't you? Because I'm going to be asking you about the future direction of this union. And like you just so accurately laid it out, we don't know who the mayor of Edmonton is going to be. We don't know what the makeup of city council is going to look like. Now, that said, Bryce, as president of CSU 52, what do you perceive to be either the biggest or some of the biggest challenges, and how will the union address them?
I think the biggest challenge is so aside from the election and stuff like that, the main thing that we're focused on internally with our employers, I think the number one thing that I'm seeing is safety. I'm seeing safety in our recreation centers, in our libraries, in like places like even our municipal offices, like in the city hall. We had the city hall shooting, like last year.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. We're seeing that sort of issue kind of come up, and we're one of the main things that we're challenging our employers. What are you doing on safety? How are you addressing, and not just in like the traditional like OHS sort of like making sure that you're being safe, going up and down stairs and stuff like that. Like, what are you doing about like the new reality of safety, these social issues that are coming up? How are you sort of like, what policies do you have in place to protect people, to take care of them after something happens? What sort of things are you challenging, people at at the municipal level or at the provincial level to sort of help with those things, right? Because obviously, the library or the city can't fix everything with safety, but like what sort of pressures are you putting on the provincial government, for example, to support you, right? Challenging our employees in that way. It's like, we want to know how you're keeping our members safe.
Now, we do have certainty, at least for now.
Yeah.
There's always got to be an asterisk when you're talking about certainty in politics. But we do have some certainty. There's less of an unknown when it comes to the makeup of the provincial government. Perhaps we'll see an election in a year or so from now. It's not up to me to prognosticate on that, let alone during your virtual town hall. But let me ask you about relationships, negotiations, discussions, the relationship with the provincial government. How would you characterize it?
We honestly don't have that many relationships directly with the provincial government. A lot of times it's about asking people at city council, like, sorry, what is your advocacy, right? And trying to help support things where we can. Like when the question was asked, like of a few councillors that sort of spearheaded a campaign about like where are your property tax, like where are our property taxes. I wasn't in office at the point that we were doing that, but it's like, how do we get behind things like that, and sort of help to support the conversations that are going on with the province, because we don't have a ton of relationships directly with the province, but it's about supporting people like city council and making those asks and saying like this, how can we sort of elevate this message to the province, right? So
okay,
yeah.
Now I want to remind those that are joining us live right now that you have an opportunity to put questions in front of your new leadership by way of the live chat, and we'll be looking to these live chat comments as well for your insights, and as well as questions if you'd like to ask them directly to the CSU 52 president and first Vice President. Michelle is joining us right now in our live chat, and she says open bargaining was a great experience. Michelle says, I'm a member, and having itemized information of what was being discussed in negotiations was such a relief after years of wading through negotiations in the dark. I have to assume, Miiahzy, that with transparency as one of your number one priorities, that has to be great feedback.
It's awesome feedback. This is Bryce's, this is the Edmonton Public Library table, which Bryce was a member of before he came into power with the presidency. So do you want to talk to us a bit about how you guys kind of got to open bargaining?
This was a big thing for, especially not just me, but we have on our board like a director from each of the bargaining units. And so our Edmonton Public Library director, Chantal, she had a very big push of like, I want to do open bargaining. I want to. It's sort of a fairly new concept in negotiations. It hasn't fully taken off, and we haven't done it at all of our tables because it sort of depends on what each of our unit directors is comfortable with. At the library table, we started with this of like, we came into bargaining and said, we aren't going to be like, we are going to keep these things confidential. Like, we are going to talk to essentially our principals, which is our membership, and we're going to potentially bring some of them in to sort of see what negotiations are like. What are we talking about? how are the issues being framed by their union versus how are they being framed by their employer, and getting to have a sort of taste of that directly at the table and getting to experience that, and also to see like is being on a bargaining committee something that interests them, right? Like maybe they have their own ideas they want to bring to the table in the next round. This gives them an opportunity to sort of see what that's like. And open bargaining, it's sometimes a bit of a challenge because it's very new for employers, and they are used to sort of a certain way of doing things with being confidential and things like that. But it wasn't really as bad. It wasn't really like once we got into the swing of it, I think it went all right. And yeah, we were able to sort of then go into our bargaining updates and be able to say like, here's what we talked about. We talked about this article, this thing. We talked about scheduling or safety, and here's what we said, and here's what the employer said. And what do you guys think? Like, is this sort of accurate? Where do you guys want us to take it? And that was, I think it was a really interesting way of doing things, and it's certainly different. Even it's new for CS52 as well, and so a lot of learning came out of it. I'm excited to sort of take those and bring them into the next round, and hopefully potentially to start bringing elements of that into our other bargaining units.
Okay, let me get to another question here in our live chat at this CSU 52 virtual town hall, a special episode at Real Talk. We've got a great comment here and a question from Kate, who says many members are concerned about employers rolling back or even removing work from home options. How will CSU 52 respond to protect flexibility, fairness, and work-life balance for our members? Miiahzy, you want to take it first?
For sure, yeah. We are aware of these issues. We're having conversations with HR. We have a focus group that we've kind of established here for the Edmonton Police Service for now. But if you are running into these issues in any other bargaining unit, please reach out. Our organizing team's doing a great job of kind of engaging and seeing, really getting what the issues are. But yeah, we are in conversations. Unfortunately, industry standards changing for a lot of occupations, and across North America, people are being brought back, and it's mostly because of like the dying downtown cores that are kind of existing. So, but yeah,
temporarily dying.
Temporarily dying. Well, and the solution seems to be that we're let's bring people back to work in the downtown core. Bryce and I are, we kind of find this a little entertaining because, yeah, it's buzzing during the hours of 8 to 4:30. But after that, everyone's going home. And so, the evenings are still not any safer than they were before. So, yes, rest assured, we're in conversations with HR at, the city as well as Edmonton Police Service, and just trying to work through these issues.
Okay, Bryce, did you want to take that one as well?
I was going to play off this, absolutely. There's the other thing I wanted to touch on is, yes, I wanted to sort of really emphasize what Miiahzy said right at the start is like, if you're seeing this if you're seeing a return to work sort of like, or a return to the office kind of happening in your work site, and the reason given is like, we just, we have to bring you back 4 days a week. It's just just because like we need to hear about it at the union office. We need to know where it's happening, what departments, what areas. Is it EPS? Is it Parks and Roads? Is it infrastructure services? We need to know where it's happening so that we can effectively go and advocate. If we just sort of have the ambiguous, like, it's happening in some places and some people have mentioned it once and they've mentioned it's going on everywhere, it's really hard for us to sort of have a compelling case to be like, we need to advocate. Like it's really hard for us to have a compelling case to advocate for when it's just like, we heard some things somewhere once. We can have a list of like, here's all the people who are being brought back and we have no reason for it, right? Like it seems arbitrary, right? And it seems like it's not, potentially not in good faith, right? I mean, if we look at the bargaining agreement, the collective bargaining agreement, we need to sort of have a general semblance of like, what's the business case, right? And so we need to know what's happening and what are managers telling people when it happens.
Okay, if you're just joining us, that's Bryce Jowett, president of CSU 52, Miiahzy Patel with us as well, first vice president of CSU 52. When we come back for a very quick break, I want to get into our interactive poll, and I want to get to more questions in our live chat. We've got one from Angela, and we've got other comments locked and loaded. We also have some emails here from CSU 52 members that are sharing their concerns, that are asking their questions, and of course indicating what their top priorities are as well. But before we get there, I want to draw your attention to workingfamiliesedmonton.ca. Working Families Edmonton is a powerful coalition of community members, activists, and unions, and that includes CSU 52. They're making sure that City Hall hears the voices of working people loud and clear. Edmontonians deserve leaders who put families first, who protect strong public services, and who take bold action for a better future for everyone. Working Families Edmonton is fighting for Edmonton. Are you with them? It's a powerful coalition here, and Edmonton deserves leaders. Edmontonians deserve leaders to ensure that this is happening. You can check out their list of endorsed candidates for the 2025 municipal election, as you'll read, again, at workingfamiliesedmonton.ca. This election's a big one. It's our chance to make sure that Edmonton's next city council will fight for working people. At workingfamiliesedmonton.ca, you can see a list of candidates that are committed to standing up for affordable housing, for better jobs, for public services, and more for Edmonton. You can check out that list of candidates, find more information, and show your support. Speak out by visiting workingfamiliesedmonton.ca. This is a good segue, I think, to talk about CSU 52's relationship with City Hall, to talk about CSU 52's relationship with City Council and the mayor and why that's so important. Bryce, do you want to take us into that?
Yeah. I mean, so council and the mayor, they're at the top of pretty much everything that we're doing at CSU, right? They're obviously, with the City of Edmonton bargaining unit, they appoint the city manager. They ask the city, they tell the city manager what the priorities are. What are we focusing on? What are we, do we want to invest more in this public service, or do we want to privatize it? Do we want to increase jobs? Do we want to increase jobs in a certain area or not? Do we want to what is the mandate for wages, right? They set all of those things, and so at the City of Edmonton, obviously it's very clear. But they also set the Edmonton Public Library's budget, right? They approve new library branches or new operating hours for the library, and so they're involved with the library unit, the EPCOR unit, right? The city is the sole shareholder of EPCOR, and so they are setting priorities there. They give a portion of money to the science center, so they're pretty much involved with every bargaining unit that we have, at least in the city. Obviously, with the Valley View Library, they're not involved there, of course, but for almost all of our bargaining units, they are the sort of the final say, and so that's why it's so important that we have good relationships with them and that we are electing councillors that share our priorities.
Miiahzy, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that's exactly it. We have Bryce and I have a lot of conversations about this and kind of, how do we move forward? And again, like you said, it's 7 months of with this election in there and bargaining and stuff like that. And it's things that we talk about all the time. And I think that's a perfect answer.
Okay, well, let me put this question in front of you, and I'll come right back to you, Miiahzy, and then Bryce, you can follow up if you'd like. Angela in our live chat, and just a reminder to those that are joining us in this virtual town hall, you'll find the live chat on the right-hand side of your screen if you're on the Real Talk Ryan Jesperson YouTube channel. Angela's wondering, can you please speak to the priorities for EPCOR, for the TELUS World of Science Edmonton and Capital Power employees, in addition to those with the city and library employees as well. Priorities in particular for EPCOR and the TELUS World of Science Edmonton.
Yeah, for sure. So we're in bargaining with EPCOR right now. We will have a unit meeting on Monday, so make sure if you're an EPCOR employee, you come to that. And we'll be discussing bargaining. We'll be giving a bargaining update. We'll be discussing several projects that are going on at EPCOR as well. But right now, our priority for EPCOR is to get a fair and reasonable collective bargaining agreement in place. So that's where we're at with EPCOR. TELUS World of Science, we just signed a collective bargaining agreement with them a few months ago. I want to say June or so. And so they are happy. We do have... TELUS World of Science did have a fire earlier this year, so our bargaining efforts didn't go as far as we would have liked it to, but we did come to a fair and reasonable deal at the end. So,
Bryce, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, So I want to talk about EPCOR and some of the things that are sort of outside just of this collective agreement. We have sort of seen a lot of the expansion of the call centers and things down in Phoenix. I think they call it Project Ascend, and we are seeing this like sort of very disheartening, I would say, thing that EPCOR is doing, where we are seeing an outsourcing of jobs to the United States. They're not unionized jobs. They're not keeping jobs in Canada, right? And this is a really big thing, especially in this current political climate. And we want to, like, one of the things that I'm pursuing, not just at the bargaining table, but outside the bargaining table, is how do we slow that down? How do we stop it? How do we bring jobs back to Edmonton? These jobs that are really, they're jobs that can be filled here, right? They're administrative jobs. They should be here in Edmonton and under CSU. And so that's one of my biggest priorities for EPCOR. At the Telstra of Science, and so Miiahzy did speak to that. And one of the big things that I applaud the Science Center for is they're very open with their financials, right? They don't, in this, with the fire and things like that, they are really sort of struggling. They're a not-for-profit. They rely, 80% of their budget comes from donations from the public. And so it is important that they're very open and transparent with their financials, and so it helps with bargaining. And they come to the table with a very open mind. They say, like, we don't have a ton of money, obviously, but what we can do is we can say, I think that they said yes to, if not every non-monetary proposal that we put on the table in this round, they said yes to all but one, maybe. They sort of recognize, here's our limitations, but here's how we're willing to sort of make up for it. It's like, here's your non-monetary stuff.
I've always been really big on when it comes to connections, union or otherwise, politics or just real life, relationships and continued sustained connection. Of course, I think tends to pay dividends in every context. How important would you say is continual advocacy and sustained public engagement for the union in order to truly make an impact?
I think it's very important, and so like we've done a lot of work on this in the last 7 months, and I think honestly, like it's crucial. It's crucial to the work that we do. I just want to say one more thing about Telstra of Science, if that's okay.
You're calling
we
the
all
shots,
know.
Miiahzy.
Well,
you can say whatever you want.
I want to say, like, our relationship with them is really great. They gave, like, so we all know that teacher strike is coming October 9th.
Yeah.
And they've already, like, started having conversations with us about, we want to support our workers that are going to be affected by this. They're going to be having, like, these camps for kids that are, for their employees, for kids that are going to be out of school. And it's such a great relationship. So I do want to touch on that a bit. And
it's one of those things where it's like, can we get our other employers, like, hey, this is an example of a great thing that's happening. Can we, the city, library, EPCOR, how can we be, what are you guys going to do to sort of match the Science Center here? Like, what sort of flexibility can you offer our members if the teachers do actually walk out? Is there going to be work from home options? Is there going to be flexible start and end times for employees where that makes sense? Like, what things are you going to do, right? It's putting that challenge out there again, right? If you wouldn't mind, I was going to get to your question about constant advocacy, which is like, if we are getting to a collective bargaining agreement, which in the timeframes that a lot of members tell us they want them, which is in like the first few months after it ends, and there's going to be probably 2.5. And in a lot of cases, and we've ended bargaining with 3 of the 5 units, we're going to have 2.5 years of no bargaining. What is the union doing? It's constantly asking questions. What are we doing on all of these things? What are we doing on work from home? What are we doing on safety? What are we doing on working conditions and workplace culture, especially at the city? That was a really big issue that we've seen some progress on, but we have a lot of work to go. What are we doing? Let's keep talking. Let's get these updates. And continuing to challenge the employers. Like, what are you doing outside of the collective bargaining agreement to make your workplace better for Edmontonians and for our members?
I want to direct people's attention to edmontonforeveryone.ca, and I'm showing my screen right now. Your web design team, by the way, has done just a really great job on this. We are the people, who is CSU 52. We are the people who make Edmonton work, who proudly quietly and every single day. But I'm going to scroll up to the top of the page here. Again, that's edmontonforeveryone.ca. If you click on the very top right-hand corner, you'll see that link, Show Your Support. That's the Show Your Support link at edmontonforeveryone.ca. I'm intrigued to see a list of endorsed council candidates and an endorsement for Andrew Knack as the next mayor of the city of Edmonton. I'm curious to know, in particular, we don't have time to go through all the wards, but when it comes to how CSU 52 made its endorsement choices, in particular for this mayoral candidate, what are you willing to share with us?
There's a couple of big factors. Number one, the biggest thing that we're seeing, as I mentioned, sort of with EPCOR, but also with the city of Edmonton, is we are sort of constantly at risk. We have to constantly be vigilant about the risk of privatization, the risk of contracting out, the risk of losing core public services to profit-making entities, right? And where we lose the efficiency because someone's got to, when it's a private entity, someone's going to make a profit, and it's probably not going to be the taxpayer. And so that's one of the big things, is like we need to be very clear. Like, privatization is a dangerous thing, a dangerous slope, and we run the risk of losing control of our own public services. So that's the number one thing that went into our endorsements this year. The second biggest thing was I put a big priority on having a clear, strong, unified labor voice. We've seen in some prior elections for the provincial government and for the last city election, and a few years before that, labor being divided, right? Labor couldn't get behind a full slate of candidates or even close. We're all over the place, and people, especially members of the general public, who are putting a priority on, I just want to help workers, or I want to support city workers. Where do they go? They come to us. They get one endorsement. They go to ETU, the transit union. They get another endorsement. So who do I cast my vote for? And so that was a big priority for me. And so in making these endorsements, we had a lot of discussions with our coalition partners, the other unions that share the city as an employer. So the transit union, the Canadian Union of Public Employees, IBW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and the transit union, the Amalgamated Transit Union, and FIRE, and saying, who are we going to support? What are the pros and cons? What are the priorities for each union? Can we get a unified agreement, right? And so in some cases, the endorsements that we're making are, potentially there might have been other options. In particular, I can think of one ward where there might be a few. There might have been some heavier discussion about who is the best candidate. But the key thing was, like, we want to align these voices. We don't want to be pulling in different directions. And so we did manage to get to a full unified endorsement list across all the coalition unions, except for one ward.
I see no endorsements.
But for the most part, we have come to a full agreement across all the unions to say this is the labor endorsement. And that was, for me, one of the biggest priorities is in getting what we've got on the.
What is it about Ward Tuscarawas that there is no endorsement? It's the only ward.
It's the only ward
where there's no endorsement. Was there no candidate in that ward, or at least not until this point, that you as leadership felt was reflecting the best interests of CSU 52?
Absolutely. That's true. We just didn't feel like we had a strong labor candidate in that ward.
Okay. Yeah. Plain and simple.
And I will say, if it does come up, I know there's a couple weeks for someone to declare, and if we do find that there is a labor friendly candidate, someone who reflects the priorities of us and of the coalition of unions, that we are willing to sort of change that and put it out and say,
well, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't rule out when this virtual town hall starts to make those ripples and people are talking about it. I wouldn't be surprised to hear a motivated candidate reach out to CSU 52 leadership and endeavor to secure your endorsement by laying out exactly what they'll bring to the table. And isn't that the exact point of what you're trying to accomplish? That's advocacy in action. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And we would love to have a candidate that we could endorse in that ward.
For sure.
I have a policy where I will take a conversation from any candidate, any ward, any policy structure, And I'll ask the questions that matter to CSU members. I'll ask the questions that matter to coalition members, and I'm willing to have the conversation. So if there is, if candidates in Tasmaniac are interested in that, reach out. I'm always open.
Okay, I want to talk about safety in the workplace, and this is a great comment from Miiahzy in our live chat here on this virtual town hall presented by CSU 52. Miiahzy says employers love to say that they value their staff, but if they want to talk the talk, they need to walk the walk. Miiahzy says, thank you for advocating for your members, the lifeblood of public services in Edmonton. Let's talk about safety. A top priority, obviously, for you as leadership and for CSU 52 members, no doubt. EPL was just in the news in the context of safety in the workplace. And this is not limited to downtown. This is certainly a city or even a region-wide issue. Talk to me about how safety affects members or concerns around safety affect members and what leadership is going to do about it, Miiahzy.
We've got a lot of members in public-facing, areas and public safety or public-facing positions.
Yeah.
And so we call on our employers to make sure that they're safe. Like, we understand that there's social issues. We understand that there's things that are beyond their control, but what are we doing and what kind of conversations are we having to make things better every day? And again, like Bryce said earlier, we have the rec centers, we have the libraries, at EPS, we have multiple areas as well, like the tow lot, for example. And we're asking our employers to be able to, like a platform to be able to have these conversations outside of the collective bargaining process, so that we can make sure that the public is safe and that their employees and our members are safe at the end of the day. So.
Bryce?
Yeah, I mean, I would play off that. It's about sort of asking, I've said to members and to employers before. It's like I'm not asking people to wrap our members up in bubble wrap and keep them, lock the door, right? Check IDs. I'm not asking anyone to do that. What I want to see from employers is like, what are you doing to sort of to lessen the risk of a serious incident, but if it does happen and when it happens, what are we doing to care for people, right? Are we having a solid time to debrief and to regroup and to ask what the member needs? Are we getting them supports, right? What is the plan, right? Because sometimes what we're seeing is that there are sometimes these great policies on paper, but we don't see managers implementing them, right? Mm-hmm. And we don't see, we see people who are, have a serious incident. They might have gotten attacked, or they might have actually been, assaulted, and have to go back, take a few minutes and then get back out there. And is that the best experience for, your Edmontonian, coming to the rec center desk or putting on a program, not knowing what the person who's providing that for you might have been through an hour ago, right? And so, especially for Edmontonians, it's like having the confidence to know that these people are being taken care of, right? So.
We have. I've been trying to wrap my mind around these projections for the city of Edmonton's growth for quite some time. Mm-hmm. They are bullish projections, and I think that they're exciting. In the sense that people want to move to Edmonton, people want to live in Edmonton, but of course there are growing pains, mm-hmm. and there are realities around growth that will impact CSU 52 members in their professional walks of life as well as in their personal lives. Why is Edmonton's growth important to members? Why is it important to you in leadership? And how is CSU 52 leadership or the union collectively ensuring that Edmonton grows smartly?
Yeah, this is a really interesting question. So there's a few things that I think is important, and why we want to support a growing city just as much as council does. And one of the big things is the city's funded on property taxes, right? And the more people that are in the city, the more that we are going to get. The larger the tax base grows, and the less that those are that the funds that the city needs to run are put onto individuals, right? And the lower we can see property taxes grow across the city. And so by growing the city like that, and we want to, sorry, lost train of thought. The other thing is that we want to see the city grow sustainably, right? We want to see the city investing the right amounts into public services. We want to see that the city is matching investment to growth, right? Over the years, we've sort of seen a decline in the ratio of like front-facing public service staff, not just with CSU 52, but across all the coalition unions, relative to the population growth. And we're, sometimes we're asking for like, where are we catching up with this? Because, sometimes city services are declining, or there's not as, the response times are getting longer, permit times are getting longer for development. How is the city keeping up with that? So yeah, we are challenging council, like, when we're growing, right? It's not just about growth, but it's about the services that back that up. Yeah.
And Miiahzy, CSU 52 is growing too.
Right.
In a big way, right? Like more members are being added now through your 6 different bargaining units. City of Edmonton, again, Capital Power, Edmonton Public Library, EPCOR, TELUS World of Science, and now Valley View Municipal Library, which is actually a very fascinating story. Can you talk to me about the Valley View Municipal Library joining CSU 52 and what do you think it means for the future of the union?
For sure. But can I just go back to one more thing?
My friend, you can do whatever
you
want.
Sorry, I know you told me that. Okay, supporting, like, can we talk about infrastructure? So we have all these people coming to our city, and it's amazing, great. I don't know if anyone has to drive downtown, but it's awful.
You're triggering me.
Sorry,
downtown
I don't
traffic
mean
flow.
to, but really, between the
My
traffic,
body temperature just rose 5
100%.
degrees.
Between the traffic, I'm hoping like this teacher strike kind of like gives us a little reprieve. Like it's like almost like
silver linings,
right?
Miiahzy, I love
Seriously. But yeah, so that's the other thing. Like, can we support infrastructure? That's kind of one of our top priorities as well. We've been having these conversations as well. So, yeah. And then going back to Valley View, yes. We'll talk about this jointly. Probably. So Valley View Municipal Library. I don't know if everyone's seen. Like there was like a W5. They were in the media a lot last year. And one of our labor relations officers was like, okay, like I'm going to go out there. I got to help these people. We got to figure it out. Went out there, brought it back to us. We were in a board meeting.
He had a personal connection, interestingly enough, to people out there. And so he took a weekend. He drove out 3.5 hours to Valley View. And we had known about this as a board with the CBC documentaries and stuff on the shadow war on public libraries, and so we were aware of these challenges. And he went out there. He talked to them just about general unionization because he wasn't sure if we were going to be interested. It is 3.5 hours away,
right?
And we haven't organized a new bargaining unit in probably since before I was born, and so. He went out there. He just talked to them about unionization, like what could unionizing do to help them with the struggles that they were seeing. He came back. He brought it to our board, and we sort of said, well, this is sort of in alignment with what we're trying to do, trying to protect public libraries, right? Trying to protect the independence of the public library,
absolutely,
and the intellectual freedom and the freedom of thought and expression that these institutions are known for. And so, how can we support that? Well, we can at least get a freeze on the working conditions for these people. We can at least sort of try to maintain that service for them so that maybe we don't see drastic cuts or having them moved into the school that they were going to be moved into and halved in size. And so we decided, let's go for it. It is a small bargaining unit. It's 3 people. We tried to get a 4th, and they tried to make it 2. The employer did. We ended up with a bargaining unit of just 3 people.
But you know what? Can I say, as an outsider, myself, as an observer, it's a compelling story.
Yeah.
And I think that the role that CSU 52 can play here reiterates the value of unions. It reiterates that solidarity angle. And I think that that's something that CSU 52 should be very proud of. I've got a lot of ground to cover with the 2 of you, and I want to talk about member involvement and opportunities to lead. But first, we have an interactive poll that's been posted on our YouTube live chat for the CSU 52 members that are participating in this virtual town hall. We asked, what's the number one thing that CSU 52 should focus on this year? 14% of respondents said they'd like to see better communication with members. 17% of respondents said it's workplace safety. 27% of respondents said member engagement. And by a significant margin, 42% of respondents said that the number one thing CSU 52 should focus on this year is worker-employer relationships. So that's something I think that provides some insight into where your membership is at. We've got more to get into with these two, with Bryce Jowett, president of CSU 52, and its first vice president, Miiahzy Patel, here on this special episode of Real Talk. There you can see the interactive poll results. I want to draw your attention right now to csu52.org. You know, your shop steward is your go-to at work. This is the person who listens and communicates and helps turn your ideas and your concerns into real action. Every single member voice matters. Every conversation counts. And of course, every member makes a difference. Reach out to your steward today to get involved. And if you'd like to take it a step further, you can become a steward too. Help connect your coworkers, share ideas, and make real change happen. Together, we grow stronger. You can learn more about these opportunities by visiting csu52.org. At risk of sounding like I have no idea what I'm talking about, can the two of you help me clearly understand what a shop steward does?
Yeah.
Like the role of a shop steward?
Yeah. So it tends to vary between unions, but in CS 52, the main role of the shop steward is to be like the touch point, the grassroots member, the person who, you know, sort of can be like sort of our eyes on the ground, right? Because we can send as many emails as we want, we can send as many text messages as we want. We can post as many things on the website as we want. We can even do this town hall, and not everyone's going to see it. But what they will do is they will have a coworker who's their shop steward who's going to tell them, this is what the union's focusing on. Hey, the union's having a town hall. Come out and see it. They're going to say like, hey, oh yeah, at the next meeting, you know, we're going to be talking about, you know, union dues, right? We're going to be talking about, you know, the city of Edmonton's wage scales, things like that. Come out and have your say on these things. And it's a lot easier to get people involved when they've got a person that they know in their worksite, friend, colleague, whatever, talking to them and giving them this information rather than just, you know, the amorphous sort of third party, you know, an email comes through your inbox and you're like, okay, yeah, okay, the union's doing this thing again. But it also reminds people that the union is made of members like, you know, like they are the union, right? Like I'm a member, Miiahzy's a member. We are the union, and we can't do it by ourselves, right? We need member support to help to give our voices weight when we talk to employers. If we don't have member support behind us, employers can just ignore us, right? We're just two people, right? So,
and then there's a ton of these committees, right? Can I rattle these off? I have the list. Yeah. I was surprised to see them there. But there's the job action group. There's your social committee. That feels like a natural fit for a person like me, the social committee. That sounds like a good one. There's your labor advocacy committee. You've got young workers, anti-racism, anti-discrimination, community relations, the shop steward assembly. There's a whole lot more. Talk to me about the committee involvements, Miiahzy.
Yeah, we've got a place for everyone. So like, you know, depending on what your level of involvement could be just like, I want to come to meetings and I just want to know what's going on. But if you have a little extra capacity and you like helping people, you might want to be a shop steward or join one of our committees. And all of our committees do great work. Like our social committee puts on our Christmas party, our retirement banquet, this sort of stuff. It's a great time for all of our members. We have our young workers committee puts on, you know, like a great bowling night, stuff like this. So if you like, you know, event planning, you might be part of those committees. If you like bylaws and, you know,
like me,
the nerdy wordy stuff that Bryce does, you might join a different committee. Like there's a place for everyone.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Bryce, we say it on this show all the time. Nerd and geek are compliments in our world.
I take them as such. Yeah.
You should wear it as a badge of honor. I want to let those that are joining us now live at this virtual town hall, CSU 52 members, that we have another interactive poll up, and we're looking for your feedback. How do you want CSU 52 to connect with members? And the options here: in-person events and town halls, podcasts, newsletters, or text messages and emails. So you can let us know there, and we'll revisit those results in a few moments. Now, there is another important election coming up, not just the municipal election on October 20th, of course, but this is an election for new board members for CSU 52. What are the roles? How does the election work? Who can be elected, and what are the terms?
Yeah, so we have our board divided into three elections happening every other year, so that we're not turning over the whole board every year. This year we've got the first vice president, so Miiahzy's position is up for election. We have the treasurer, the TELUS World of Science director, and the Capital Power director. It's a 3-year term, and so for the most part, so for the first vice president role, it's primarily assisting me as the president, helping to staying involved, and in the case of Miiahzy is working full time in the office to help out. The treasurer is our main financial controller, right? They're keeping an eye on the budget. They're making sure that union dues are spent properly. That
job.
Money's not going anywhere, and everything is approved. TELUS World of Science director is the main representative for the TELUS World of Science. They are elected from the TELUS World of Science. They have to be a TELUS World of Science member, and they can only be nominated by other TELUS World of Science members. And they're only voted for by TELUS World of Science members, so it's entirely their representative. Same thing with Capital Power, and they're the member lead on bargaining when it happens. They're the main person that is at the board advocating for their bargaining unit's issues as far as internal union matters are concerned. So that's their main job, and
Okay.
Yeah.
So people can check out the website for more information on that, or of course reach out to their local representatives. But again, that's CSU52.org. That's kind of the hub, isn't it, for engagement when it comes to people looking to check in. There's news, there's ways to get involved, membership details, resources. Of course, that event calendar as well, which you guys have packed through this summer of solidarity. And as well as a primer, just the About Us link, which will provide valuable information for people that may be new members or people that haven't been necessarily as familiar with what CSU 52 offers. Again, we do have our live poll up, and we're going to get to your insights on this. CSU 52 members, how you would most like to see CSU 52 connect with you. We'll revisit that in just a moment. But while we're there, I did want to put something else, members, on your radar before we talk about big wins and inspirational stories. But Miiahzy and Bryce just referenced this social committee, and there's no doubt about that. This is the social committee that is bringing this union to life. Check out CSU52.org for details on this. The social committee is who is organizing and promoting fun events that are bringing members together and, of course, celebrating achievements. We build community within the union through social activities like Christmas and retirement parties, union barbecues, bowling nights, and more. Are either of you decent bowlers, by the way? Can you bowl? Spares? Strikes?
I used to bowl when I was probably like 12 years old.
Okay.
I was in a
I'm
league.
an awful bowler.
I haven't done it in a long time.
I'm
probably terrible now.
I'm the worst. You're better than me, Bryce. I'm literally the worst bowler in Edmonton.
I'm so bad at it. My family likes to bowl. We go out all the time, and I suck.
I'm always the guy
and I'm
that,
okay sucking.
I want to use that thing that you set it up and you can just roll the ball.
Yeah.
I think it's for 7-year-olds, but I need one of those.
My kids always ask me, do you want one of those?
Ma, you want to use the?
I'm like, I'd love to.
Ma, you want to use it?
No shame in my game.
Well, here's the deal. CSU 52 members are encouraged to volunteer, and quite frankly, the more the merrier when it comes to the CSU 52 Social Committee. You can share ideas, and you can help make our events a big success. Get involved, have fun, and make a difference. All right, before we wrap, and this has been really a lot of fun, and what an innovative way. By the way, if I may if I may share my own personal thoughts on you, I think that the two of you and, of course, your talented team behind the scenes should really be commended on doing something like this, a virtual town hall that's going to make this more accessible for people. It's going to be there in perpetuity so people can look back on this and learn more about their representatives, learn more about their leadership. And I want to make sure, because of that we're spending some time talking about the wins. We're talking about the proof of performance here, right? This is what's going to get your union members inspired and truly, if they didn't already, truly believe in the collective power of CSU 52. So why don't we talk about some of the recent wins for CSU 52 members? Bryce, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
First thing that comes to mind is we wrapped up bargaining with the city. Last time that we were in bargaining with the city, it took 2 years and ended in being 6 hours from a strike. and and we were able to wrap it up in a very productive way in just under 5 months. And that was a huge win for us. We were super happy that we were able to come to the table. We had an employer who was ready to bargain, and we came ready to bargain. We got what I think is a really good deal. And that's my number one big win. I'll let Miiahzy sort of talk to one too before I take them all.
You know what? I think this event, like this whole summer solidarity thing, is a huge win for us. Like, it's something that we've never done in the past. Just getting out there, meeting everybody, giving people different opportunities and different platforms to come talk to us. Bryce.
This is Jenny's favorite photo. It's a great
photo. It's my favorite photo too.
That's
actually going to be Bryce's.
This is our internal meme of me. We had such a great turnout at the barbecue that I had to go send out for cheeseburgers, just to try and feed everybody. And there's our second vice president.
There you go.
Cheeseburgers, yeah,
the most popular person in the square. With the big bag of cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
What about ratification votes? I mean, I think that even to the casual observer, that's got to be one where you and your team have got to be pretty proud.
Every agreement that we've ratified so far this year has been ratified with over 90% yes votes, and so that shows us that we're very much in line with what the membership's looking for in bargaining, and that means that we're on the right path. We're addressing the things that we need to address, and we need to just keep focus on that for the next couple of years until we get to the next round of bargaining and continue focusing on those things that are important for them.
Let me ask both of you, and I'll get you both to answer on this. A great question from Lindsay, and a very fair question in our live chat. She wonders, what's the union's plan to improve the employee experience across all CSU 52 workplaces, even though each unit has its own unique or different challenges?
Mm-hmm. Again, Lindsay, reach out to us if you have any type of workplace issues. It starts with you guys. You need to, come engage, talk to us, and let us know what you're experiencing out there, because we're only as good as the information that we get from our membership. I will say, I'm going to share this tidbit. We've hired a new director of labor relations that we're really excited about. Our 42% of people that had just told us that they want improved employer relations. That is on the top of our list as well. And we're really hoping that, that we get there with this new hire. And so just making sure that we are aware of any issues that are happening in those work areas. And then just, good or bad, actually, like even good feedback is really helpful for us, because then we can use that in future conversations of like, well, this area does it really well. Why can't you do it like this area? Because then so just information is power. The more we have, the better leaders we can be.
Yeah, very well said.
We will have better relationships with the employers if we're not always saying everything that they're doing wrong. if we can celebrate some of the things that they're doing right and say, hey, this is fantastic, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing about different challenges across different work sites is exactly what Miiahzy said. We need to know about it, right? Because the employers are not going to come and tell us what the issues are. We need the members to come and tell us what they're seeing in their workspaces. And every worksite is different, and I've got my own background with the library. Miiahzy's got her own background with EPS, and we have our board has different backgrounds as well. But our membership is so diverse, it's across so many different bargaining units, that if we need to hear about it so we can know how to tailor our advocacy for different employers and what's important where.
How about this? This is my favorite handle that we've seen in our live chat so far this evening, and that is first name, last name. Very well said. I love that name in the live chat. So first name, last name says, I love that. Very creative. Says, and this is a bit of a bouquet for both of you, says, I've been pretty impressed with the new leadership so far since last year's CSU 52 election. So there you go. Brothers Grimm, by the way, standing in solidarity there in the live chat. So a shout out to Brothers Grimm. I want to thank the two of you for making yourselves available, and I want to recognize your team and the leadership and the members of CSU 52 for prioritizing accessibility, transparency, like you said, when it comes to bettering and growing not just this union and the services that it offers, of course, but also that the impact it makes on this wonderful city, Alberta's capital city, Of course, there have been bumps in the road. Of course, there will always be challenges associated with growth. A good problem to have. We could be talking about people fleeing. We could be talking about a population in decline, but that is not the situation. But I think it also reiterates the importance of strong, intuitive leadership at a time of great opportunity for this city and for the people that are proud to call it home. Before we wrap for this evening, per the tradition here on our Real Talk Roundtables, I want to give each of you a chance to offer a closing thought. It could be a challenge to your members. It could be something you hoped we discussed that we didn't get into, but a chance to essentially issue a final statement, if you will, at this virtual town hall.
I will make it a challenge. I will make it a challenge to members because, as I said a bit earlier, members are the union. We cannot do anything without the support of members and people. Not just being involved, but actively supporting their work site and supporting the initiatives. Right. If again, we can be easily ignored if we don't have member backing. If the employers can credibly say your members don't care, then we don't have anything to stand on. So we need members to care, to be involved, to advocate to us and to the employers as well for the issues that matter. And so I would say my challenge to members is find a way to get involved. Find anything that matters. Like any involvement is good involvement. If you've got the capacity to join a committee or you've got the capacity to run for the board, do that. That's fantastic. If you've only got the capacity to come to a meeting, that's fantastic. If you only have the capacity to send an email about what's going on your work site, do that. Right? Anything helps. Voting in your bargaining ratification votes, filling out your surveys. Right? That's all things that help. Get involved in some way that you have capacity for.
I love that.
Yeah.
Get involved. Miiahzy, last word to you.
I just want to say Bryce and I both live and work in this city. We love this city, and we just have an interest in protecting our core services and doing what's best for our members. So there's that. And get involved. These are my next thing. And again, you keep mentioning our team, and you're right. We have an amazing team. And I want to say thank you to everybody behind the scenes and all of our members, and it was so lovely to meet all of you this summer. Thank you so much for coming out. We're so grateful for your engagement, and we look forward to doing amazing things in the next year. So
I love this from Exactly in the chat, who says that you guys have done that. It's just such great branding. The CSU, like YOU. So Exactly says, put the U back in union. CSU.
Yes,
52,
solidarity.
which I think really is great. Michelle says members are the union. And Michelle, that's so well said as well. As we wrap this very special episode of Real Talk, this CSU 52 virtual town hall, I want to remind you that you can learn more information and connect with your leadership, with your representatives at CSU52.org. If you're looking for more insights into the upcoming municipal election on October 20th, be sure to check out workingfamiliesedmonton.ca. And of course, don't forget edmontonforeveryone.ca for more details on the incredible work of CSU 52.
Real Talk is hosted by Ryan Jesperson, executive producer Josh Dunford, technical producer John Hicks, general manager Katie Cook-Chivers, account coordinator Lawrence Derlego, human resources Lena Shepard, website design Mike Johnston, voiceover by me, Carrie Skelton. Real Talk's editorial board is Supriya Dwivedi, Ahmed Ali, Brandy Morin, Ann Castleman, Corey Hogan, Harman Candola, Catherine O'Neill, and Chris Henderson. Member Emerita, Julie Rohr. Real Talk is recorded in Edmonton, Alberta on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional and ancestral territory of the Cree, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux, and Nakota Sioux, home to the Métis settlements and the Métis Nation of Alberta. Real Talk is a relay project. For more, check out ryanjesperson.com.